Questions for Andrew, please.
Andrew, what did you show to each other, kind of answered your own call out, I guess, with that performance up in Norman? What did you show to each other, prove that night?
I think we proved that we can bounce back when we play, through adversity and together. We can grind out games. That's probably one of the closest games we've been in all year. So that showed our togetherness, it showed our focus, and it kind of showed our drive to, do whatever it takes to win the game.
Jeff, go ahead.
Andrew, you talked early in the season about the adjustment, offensively to now. It's not so much of an ISO game, but you're moving without the ball and you kind of having to make that adjustment. Do you feel now like that adjustment period's over and you're just comfortable doing what you're doing, being in this offense?
Yeah, I just can't think too much about it. Try to mainly create offense for my defense. That makes the game a lot easier. But then when we're in the half court, just using our IQ to play off of each other, continue to become an option for the the primary ball handlers and drivers, so that we can always have an outlet just in case somebody gets stuck.
Do you think getting back into the starting lineup may have helped you a little bit, or is that just not something that?
It's basketball. Sometimes you come off the bench, sometimes you start. It's about your consistency on what you can bring to the team. So
You talked about how being on the bench for a little bit, it helped you see how the game developed in those first few minutes. When you don't have that, you just have to try and start with an aggressive streak and make the game instead of watching it, I guess.
Yeah, you could say that. Early on, I felt that way because it was a new team, new system, trying to understand exactly what the coaches need from me. Now that we're late into the season, deep in the conference, I just need to go out there and play my game and be my best self and provide a spark, whether I'm starting or I'm coming off the bench.
Did you make a point to drive on your first two buckets you had? Obviously you were 4 or 5 from 3, but your first buckets were taken into the rack.
It's always good to see the ball go in early at the rim, but I'm just really taking what the defense gives me. The first couple of drives that I took was late shot clock. They're crowding me, so I can't get an easy shot. So I got to just use my talent to create a shot.
Andrew, what do you guys take away from the trip to Lubbock? How can you use that for Saturday?
We move forward. Everybody knows what happened in Lubbock. That game doesn't define us as long as we continue to get better and continue to grow as a team, so we can make a push later in the season.
But what in your mind sticks out? I said, what needs to be better this time?
Everything. We're just a new team, new group of guys, and we just got to learn to gel with each other, both offensively and defensively.
Jerry.
Andrew, can you share with fans how they can best support your foundation? And I know it was said that 10% of your proceeds from NIL you're going to put toward cancer research. Can you share how fans can support that? And also, do you ever stay in contact with Dick Vitale and lift him up as he lifted you up?
Oh yeah, I'm in close contact with him all the time. I try not to bother him because I know what that journey is and how difficult it is, to be focused in the moment, and then you have a bunch of messages and phone calls. But I reach out to him periodically just to know that, he has my support. When it comes to the foundation, it's just more about, who you are as a person and who you care about. It's about being outside of yourself and, donating to a cause that's bigger than basketball and what life truly is. So, I encourage everybody to, continue to donate. You never know what people are going through next to you or across the world, and, you never know what your contribution could impact somebody, drastically.
As your journey has as your journey has continued through, your diagnosis, through getting past it, and continuing on that as far as through these, initiatives, how have these last 3 or 4 years changed you as a person as you continue to, to move not only through basketball but to move through, the initiatives you're a part of?
It's more of an enlightening experience. As a young kid, I was so focused on basketball, so focused on, reaching my goals. I really shadowed and shut out the outside world. And now I have a bigger and broader perspective of what life really is. And at the end of the day, life is bigger than basketball. And, basketball is something that I enjoy, and it's a privilege that I have. But without health, I wouldn't be able to do the things that I'm doing now. So I'm just appreciative. I thank God every day for giving me the platform, for giving me the ability to just go out here and inspire others, with my play.
When you put out a tweet like you did, 4 years in remission, are those little moments just constant reminders to your journey?
Yeah, it's just a testament to, you know, what the man upstairs can do for you, and I'm appreciative. That's really what it is. It's appreciation tweet of all this, my supporters, you know, my doctors, my family, the game of basketball, and just try not to take anything for granted.
Andrew, how has NIL overall impacted you, and how has it impacted teammates, other athletes you know around campus?
I think NIL was probably one of the biggest things that could have happened for college. You know, I used to write papers about it my freshman year about how student athletes should be able to, you know, benefit from their hard work and, you know, the things that they do for their schools. And I think, you know, from a financial standpoint, a lot of people come from, you know, low-income backgrounds, and they live paycheck to paycheck with the scholarships that they get. And I know a lot of lower-end schools, you know, that their athletes don't benefit as much as, you know, high major colleges do. So I feel like in its own way it benefits, you know, both the athletes and the school, you know, because the more the athletes grow in popularity and be able to do things with their NIL, you know, it goes twofold with the athlete as well.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to ask you about, because a lot of high school recruits, they view NIL as some sort of recruiting thing, whereas the guys who are here in college, like you, it's a way to establish your platform and grow your brand. These are two completely different things. So what would your guidance be to somebody who thinks, hey, I want to go to school X because they're going to pay me Y, and like that's it?
I mean, it's all about your morals and your beliefs. You know, if your family's in a financial situation where instant gratification, instant money could help change the lives of the people around you, then, you know, go with the biggest, you know, offer. But, you know, if money isn't really an issue and you just want to be able to go and have fun and enjoy life and enjoy this college experience, that's what it should be based on, you know. So I know back in the previously when NIL and stipends weren't even allowed, I know guys at UConn were talking about how they barely had food to eat. You know, I know kids in junior college struggle, you know, significantly, you know, not having meal plans or proper nutrition. So it plays a factor into just understanding what you want out of this basketball life or any type of sport, and just being, you know, aware of what it is that you need for yourself and your family.
Because I still remember us being in Chicago, you know, at the Combine, because you thought, how close were you? You wanted to know how close were you to the league, right? And I wondered, are guys more willing to stay in school and develop if they have that versus, you know, itching to go pro and maybe you're not ready?
I mean, it's like I said, that's more of a personal thing. One thing that can't be taken away from you is your education. So if you value education, you know, long term, if you don't have the money now, if you go and get a degree and, you know, continue to get the education, money will come. But like, it's all circumstantial. It's all predicated on the individuals and their family in certain situations.
Two last ones for Andrew.
If you had to describe this team to people who didn't know about it, how would you describe it?
I think we're unique. You know, I think we're unique. We don't have any eye-popping, sky-flying athletes, but we have a lot of people with unique individual talents and skill sets that, you know, give us an advantage each and every night on the court, and we play defense.
Last one for Stu.
Andrew, what are your thoughts on Texas playing in the Jimmy V Classic next season?
It's awesome. I wish I could play in it. It's probably one of the most highly
You might can.
I might can, yeah. I think it's a good cause. You know, Texas has one of the largest brands in the country, and, you know, if we go out there and show, you know, a good performance, it'll be a good way to raise a lot of money. You know, a lot of support for, you know, the cancer research and people going through, you know, their trials right now.
Real quick, do you have a website or anything that you?
You can go to v.org/AJ1. That's the direct link to, you know, donate to the Jimmy V Foundation. All the money and proceeds go directly there. And then you can also, with your employer, they can match your donation as well. So if you donate $300, your employer can also match the amount in which that you donated.
JimmyV.org/AJ1.
Yes.
Thank you, sir.
Thank y'all.
We'll let Coach open and then take questions.
I also want to recognize Drew's basketball talent, right? He's in elite company now. I think he scored entered the 1,500 club last game's only a dozen or so players on that list in Texas basketball history, and I saw the name B.J. Tyler pop up. We all know how good B.J. was, one of the all-time greats. So, Drew continues to play really good basketball. He's made some great strides on defensive end, especially with his focus and willingness. And I think the other night, 7 rebounds. So, again, lost in this story a little bit is how good a player he is too. And I always thought that was my responsibility to kind of keep bringing that up.
Questions, please?
What did you think of him taking it to the rack immediately, kind of setting the tone of, being aggressive, taking it to him to start that game?
Yeah, we talk a lot about, shot selection and what kind of shots we're trying to get. And a guy like Jones, he's got a tough job, right? Because all great ones do. I mean, it's not easy being a best player type guy. So we definitely want him to shoot the three. I think he's arguably the best three-point shooter in the Big 12. But we also want him to use his talent to get to the free throw line and be aggressive. So it's, again, I talk to the guys all the time about let's just think about LeBron. Like every time he comes down the floor, he could probably get a good shot. But sometimes he's looking for that great shot. And it's a team game. And guys like Drew do a great job of getting other people involved too. So a lot of respect for Andrew. I think he's playing really well right now.
Chris, when you are a opposing coach, you see him 2-3 times a year, you wish him well, you pray for him, things like that. What's it been like to be with him and to see how he handles all of this and what kind of man it's kind of made him?
Yeah, so Drew and I, again, we're from the same hometown, Irving, Texas, so we're connected in a lot of ways. And, of course, me and Shaka are friends. We're friends, still are friends. And so I knew probably a little bit about more about Drew than the next guy. But he's, everything he was advertised to be. Again, he's a really talented player. Could talk all day about his basketball, but he's a great teammate too. Drew's an emotional guy. He's competitive. Holds himself accountable. He's fun to coach.
Your team scored every possession in overtime and forced a couple turnovers, scored off of those. What did they show you in that, that atmosphere and that end?
Yeah, I think, as time goes on, a lot of these games just bleed away. You remember the losses, not many of the wins, but I do think I'll probably remember this one down the road. And I'll just remember that, a lot of times in overtime, that team that has the momentum has a little bit of an advantage. But we had a really calm, poised timeout going into overtime, talking about, hey, we're here. It's all we could ask for, 5-minute game. And let's try to get back to some of the original game plan stuff. Defensively, we weren't getting stops. It wasn't that we weren't trying to, but they made a couple plays. But I think the fact that we had an answer on offense and then ultimately got a couple of turnovers was the difference in the game.
Do you have any memories from your time as a student? Did you ever have to camp out for a game, for basketball, for football, for anything as a student?
No, Coach Penders had me in the office for 23 hours a day with Vic and Eddie cutting up tape, working on Tremaine Wingfield's jump shot, which was really good, by the way. I played Tremaine Wingfield one-on-one probably about 200 times, and I don't think I have any wins.
Wherever you've been, you always go to the students first, and this is there hasn't been a time in a long time where you say anybody who has big ticket can go. Did you choose this game for a reason, or are you just doing this because you want more student involvement and this was just kind of the next game that was on the schedule?
Yeah, I'm just one part in this deal as the coach. It's administration, marketing, all the way up to, I'm assuming, President Hartzell's desk. And, the student body to me it makes college basketball. It's like it's what college basketball is. The other fans feed off of the student section. And, everywhere we've been really blessed, starting at Fort Scott Community College and Seminole and South Carolina, McMurray and San Angelo and Little Rock and West Texas. And so, we're in the early stages here, year one, but we're doing really well, to have some sellouts at this point. The student section's been filled. So this game, we just wanted to get the message out. There's only so many seats in that lower level, and sometimes students, are voicing emails and stuff, but I wanted to get down there. So, we've got seats in the upper deck for them too. We want to fill this. We need them. We want them. When I got here, I said it won't be a one-way relationship. I hope that everybody understands that that's true. We've kept our word on that. We've tried to support everything we possibly can on this campus to this point. We look forward to doing more in the spring when our season ends. But, yeah, we're asking for help. We're asking for our students to get up a little early. Saturday morning, in college, 11 a.m., not an ideal time, but we got all sorts of stuff going on out there starting at 9 o'clock, with the live entertainment, T-shirts, giveaways, food, and all that stuff. Should be a great atmosphere against a quality opponent.
Chris, I have no idea how true it all is, but it's all over Tech message boards that Tech fans have bought up a certain number of tickets Saturday. There are no more public tickets available, as I understand it. If you don't have a ticket now, you're not going to get one. So I guess how many seats are being held back for students that may go unsold?
I don't know that to be true. I don't know that. I think we're talking about the student section that's in place anyway. So I'm not educated enough to talk on those specifics.
What did you learn in the first meeting and that you hope your team has improved upon for tomorrow?
Yeah, trying to think back here, first game in Lubbock, obviously a great atmosphere for the home team. Thought our guys did a good job early, kind of withstanding the first kind of emotional punch to the game. Again, I understand the question. It was a great environment that night in a lot of ways, but we've played in other environments like that. This is Texas, so it's not like it's easy when we go to Allen Fieldhouse or down there to Waco or Gonzaga and other places. But our guys did a good job kind of hanging around early. They're going to try to throw that knockout punch on you when you're the visiting team in this league. Some stretch of the first half, the game really got away from us a little bit. We did a good job in the second half. I think we cut it to, 7 or 8 points a couple times and had some timely possessions with the ball and came up a little bit short. Give Tech credit, though. They beat us in the 40-minute game. We're going to have to get a lot more productive and tough around the baskets with the rebounding game. And they got really good players. And I think Coach Adams will be the first to tell you that. This isn't going to be the coaches out there playing. This is going to be the players. I had the privilege and honor to coach some of those guys, so I know as well as anyone, maybe better than anyone, how good those players are. Of course, Rodney coached Bryson, so this is the most talented team in the Big 12, player for player, or one of. You can make that argument. So we'll have to play really well against one of the best teams in the country.
Chris, that said, go back for a second. First trip to Lubbock and their first trip here. Are you looking forward to this getting out of? Let's finally get this over with. The trip there, the trip here, it's over with, and everybody can move forward.
I just really don't view it like that. I live in kind of a tight circle. I've had some friends and family members say that same kind of word choice. Somebody that I really respect in West Texas that I won't mention by name said something. I'm just glad to kind of get that first one over with. I didn't really understand that. And all these games are intense, Brian. Like we're trying to win every game on a schedule. It's really difficult to do. But I understand the question because of the connection with this game. But personally, I don't see it like that. I see it as a chance to play one of the best teams in the country in mid to late February on our home floor. And these are the kind of games we're going to be in down the stretch here. This is what the remaining our schedule looks like. This is what the Big 12 tournament looks like. And this is ultimately what the national tournament looks like.
Cliff, go ahead.
Chris, what, if anything, can you share about what you said to the fan at the end of the game in Norman the other night?
Yeah, on that deal, I don't shy away from it. Been coaching a long time, and during the games, it's part of it. Teams rooting for their team, saying some stuff about the opposing team. Never had a problem with that. Really, never will. But when the game's over, and walking off the court, and somebody's within, touching reach, and we start saying things personal, I'm not going to let that go by. I'm going to, take up for myself. And so, to me, I just don't understand why it's a part of sports, especially in Oklahoma. Guys, I coached at Seminole State College. I love Oklahoma. I mean, last time we were there a couple times ago, Toby Keith gave me a high five on the way out. I don't know, one of my daughters was basically raised in Oklahoma. We lived in Seminole, and I don't know. I just when people say stuff personal, I'm always going to take up for our players, and I'm going to take up for myself.
Joe, go ahead.
With Trey's absence, it seems like Dylan's going to get more minutes. What do you need to get from him over this stretch of games without Trey being here when he's going to, I'm guessing, be playing a little bit more?
Yeah, well, opportunity comes in different ways, different forms. But I'd be the first to say that Dylan is increasing his opportunity regardless of who's here or who's not. And we continue to pull for Trey, and we're there in any way we can to support him during this personal time. But with Dylan, it's not necessarily like, hey, Dylan, here's an opportunity. I mean, he's earned that through play in games and in practice. So it's an opportunity for him, no doubt. I think Dylan's story is well documented. Just reminding everybody that he was one of the best players in the SEC last year. Didn't have a spring off season, didn't have a summer off season, joined us when we were already in full play. This is really difficult to do, to just jump in and play at this level against this kind of competition. But I think he's more than holding his own. And the exciting thing for us is we feel like he's just getting a lot better each day. So I predict there's going to come a time very soon where it really opens up for Dylan. He played well in Norman the other night, hit a big basket, good assist, got some rebounds, and started to look a little bit more comfortable out there. So yeah, no secret. We need Dylan to play his best down the stretch. But we respect the journey he's made, guys. It's really hard to come back from what he came back from with no preparation, off-season type, and hey, let's go beat Oklahoma. It's hard to do.
When do you think he maybe started to trust his body finally and not really have to think, can I make this cut or anything like that? When do you think it kind of is like, okay, he can play basketball?
Yeah, I don't want to speak for him, but in my mind, early, as we went through each step, there was never really hesitancy. He's got the best doctors in the world. We got the best trainer in college basketball. And so, yeah, sometimes that's a part of the process. But to Dylan, he was playing with great courage. I remember the very first day he got cleared to play controlled reps, and it was like, he was trying to dunk on people. And then the day he got cleared to play, I think the one thing we see a little bit still is just the conditioning and trying to get his legs under him. There's nothing like game time. You can prepare all you want in practice or in that weight room or on that track or treadmill, but it's different when you get out there and you're banging around. And he's working extremely hard at it. I know that like yesterday was our off day, and he's in here sweating early in the morning and still getting after it late at night. So, yeah, Dylan's playing well, and I think he's got such a huge ceiling that, I predict he's going to play his best basketball down the stretch.
Two last ones, please. Jeff, go ahead.
Chris, Terrence Shannon only plays 6 minutes in the game in Lubbock, but it seems like he's healthier back to playing a lot of minutes for Tech. When he's playing high minutes and healthier, how different does he make them?
And I love TJ. That's my guy. And TJ's an NBA player. So obviously, when you take away one of the best players from a team, it affects things. And so TJ's he makes plays on both ends of the floor, understands how to play. He's an experienced player. So, yeah, obviously Texas Tech's a better team when TJ Shannon's on the floor. I think everybody recognizes that.
Roger, last one.
Chris, when you walk out of Waco and not happy with toughness, and then what you guys did at OU, showing the toughness for 45 minutes, is that another example of it's a choice? It's not necessarily a skill to play that hard.
Yeah, absolutely. It's capable versus willing, and every guy on our team is capable of winning every possession. Every guy on our team is capable of doing a lot of things in basketball. There's nothing they're really not capable of that we need to win every game. And you start getting into willing, why aren't you willing to do something? Do you care? I mean, our guys care. Are you prepared? Our guys are prepared. I think when it really gets down to it, I actually spend a lot of time thinking about these things. I think it all comes down to discipline. Can you do the right thing every single time? There's a lot of great offensive rebounders in college basketball, but there's only a few that are disciplined enough every single time to go do their craft, do their art. And so we talk a lot to our guys about discipline. I think, Baylor game is no different. Like, look, we wanted to win. We were prepared. We show up. We understand how good Baylor is, but there's just plays within the game where, we're not doing what we're supposed to be doing. And then again, do we know what we're supposed to do? Yes. Are we talented enough to do it? Yes. Do we want to do it? Yes. Okay, why aren't we doing it? A lot of it's just discipline. And, just keep reminding the guys. And it's no different than anybody. I think the elite of the elite. You know, I'm sure the best player in the NBA right now will have some possessions tonight where he didn't have the discipline that he needed. But to me, that's the whole deal. Now, I've coached some other teams before where you can max out, and we're probably not going to win those 6 games in 3 weeks, you know. But this team, I think if we max out and do what we're supposed to do every possession, we can play with anybody in the country.